I'm standing at the edge of the most fiercely fought over port in the Mediterranean, and just behind it, a vacation town sitting on top of a massive 2,000-year-old Roman arena.
Welcome to what is arguably the most fiercely fought over patch of dirt in Spain, and the absolute maddest part about it all. They built a completely normal, modern holiday town right on top of it.
For 2 millennia, if you wanted to rule Europe, you had to first conquer Cartagena. So you can see, not only did they have this massive, deep port, but also all the way around the port, we've got mountains behind the town here, and mountains over there. So it was really good for defensive purposes, which is why it was such an important port. Unfortunately, one of the main attractions is closed, but we can still find out quite a bit about it. So as you can tell, shipbuilding is obviously a really important industry here. Unfortunately, I can't get into the Naval Museum because it's closed on Sundays and Mondays, but there is an interesting story around submarines. There was a guy here and he was responsible, basically invented this new electric powered submarine, and on the day that he was due to present it to the Spanish government, he'd been sabotaged by his rival. They then, in 2004, commissioned a new modern submarine named after this guy, but that basically one of the people involved in making it made a miscalculation, a mathematical error, misplaced 1 decimal point, which meant that the submarine was 100 kilograms overweight and had to be completely redesigned at the cost of millions. As you walk around the waterfront today, it feels like standard Spanish port town, holiday town, but you've got this cute whale tail sculpture in the harbour, loads of nice palm trees, loads of nice seating areas, the sun's out, it's lovely. But the history of this place is actually pretty bloody and quite violent.
This city's been fought over, properly flattened, and rebuilt so many times over the last 2 millennia that they essentially just kept building right on top of the old rubble. The actual ground level just kept getting higher and higher. It's basically a massive, chaotic layer cake of empires.
So in the late 19th century, there was a massive mining boom here, and some people got rich, really rich, as a result. So they wanted to show that off, so they built these massive mansions like this one, right on the main street, the Calle Mayor, in this 1920s French style. But they had no idea what they were building on top of. Grand Hotel, it's a beautiful building, but they've been allowed to, at some point, someone's permitted this hideous thing to be built in front of it. And it really is a city with layers. Even from the late 19th century, with these nice buildings and the horrible buildings that have been built since. But that started way before that. And this little coffee shop I found is really cool. It's in I don't know what the building is, but it's an old building. And the menu's quite interesting, so my coffee's coming in a test tube. Does that make it taste better? I don't know. It looks cool. It's made with tonic water, and then espresso. The espresso was poured through orange, I guess, to infuse it. So it's a fizzy, cold coffee. Interesting. Well, that was cool. I recommend this place. If you're here, you want a nice coffee? Not a cheap coffee, but a nice coffee. So you know that guy Hannibal?
Toughened your nipples, didn't it?
No, not Lecter. The cannibal, people-eating one. This is where General Hannibal gathered these war elephants before he took them to march on Rome. So this place dates back way, way before the Romans. And it's funny nowadays because you say to someone you're going to Cartagena, they think you're going to Colombia. This is the original. You get a great view of the city from here. To be honest, a lot of it isn't pretty, but there are all these layers of history here. That's what's interesting about it. It's not the most beautiful city. It's definitely interesting, and it's certainly been important.
Just to quickly sort the timeline out, before the Romans even got here, this spot was founded by the Carthaginians back in 200 and something BC, hence the name Cartagena. Because of the massive protected deep water port, it was the ultimate prize in the Mediterranean at the time.
This is quite cool, but it's not what I thought it was. I thought it was the Roman theatre. That's back down towards the port, and it closes in like 30 minutes. So I'm now speed running around here. Do your research, guys. Don't rely on me. This is cool though. Still worth seeing. It's mad that this was like hidden under the city. Like this neighbourhood round this hill was like full of like, bars, cafes, brothels and stuff. It wasn't a very desirable place. They decided to demolish it in like the 60s, and it wasn't until later in the 80s that they discovered all these ruins. It's mad. And the museum contains like some of the kind of best examples of things that they uncovered, but this is actually in situ, right in the middle of the city. Right. I'm going to see if I can see this amphitheater before it closes.
Fast forward a couple of thousand years to the late 1980s, the local council decides to build a regional crafts centre. So they start digging up a fairly normal everyday bit of town and almost immediately clonk a spade into a 2,000-year-old ornate pillar. It turned out, for hundreds of years, locals had been popping to the shops and going about their business, completely oblivious to the fact that they were walking directly over one of the biggest Roman theatres in the country.
So this Roman theatre had capacity for up to 7,000 people. It was basically hidden until the 80s. There was a whole neighbourhood built over it. So not only did they forget about it, they built a neighbourhood on top of it, because they didn't know it was here, obviously. And there was also a cathedral built on top of it as well. And they were doing some construction in the late 80s, discovered it, and excavated the rest. So I wonder what else there still is to find here. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's big, it's impressive. I guess the interesting part is they didn't know it was here. So they're still working on the excavation of this bit at the front. There's a crypt underneath. It cost us €2 million. So maybe if you're planning to come here, there'll be a bit more uncovered still. So this was the site of a Roman garden. What a weird place to be standing, right? You've got this facade of a building, you've got the amphitheater, you've got the backs of these modern buildings, but painted with this cool mural. It's a really interesting city. I feel like I've had a proper history lesson here. A self-guided history lesson, mind you. Self-guided and misguided, probably. Don't fact check me. You know, I think to most people when they come here, it's just a nice place to grab a coffee. And it is. It's actually down by the water, Calle Mayor. It's lovely. Nice city. But when you dig a little bit deeper, it's so much more interesting than that.
Cartagena isn't just a nice Spanish city for a weekend break. It's a 2,000-year-old trophy that's managed to survive a heck of a lot. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe and hit the notification bell. It really helps. Cheers, see you soon.